Hello and welcome to another episode of Policy in Wonderland. I'm your host, Avi Amira, and as you already know, in Policy in Wonderland, just like Alice, we are going to explore the wonderful world of insurance, insurtech, and everything that's connected to this amazing ecosystem. In Policy in Wonderland, you will meet startups from all over the world, literally from all over the world, key figures, brokers, and more. And before we jump in, remember to like, subscribe, and share this episode. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter and to stay updated on all things insurtech and connect with others who share your passion for innovation in insurtech. So without further ado, we travel today to California, and I want to invite my guest to join me as we go down the rabbit hole. And this time, the connection is like super relevant for Policy in Wonderland, and I'm so glad for first kind of episode about this topic with my friend Stephen Goldstein. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, Evie. We're going to go down the rabbit hole and down the golf holes, so that'll be fun.
Oh, nice. Wow, so much reference. Okay, great. Okay, the pen here will be amazing. Okay, great. So we have two main topics today. We are going to talk about ITC Vegas 25. That will be just around the corner, October 14 to the 16 in the Mandalay Bay. And we are going to speak about golf. And you will explain much more after. So before we jump in, just for those, I don't know who, but for those who are not familiar with Stephen, who is Stephen Goldstein?
Too kind, Evie. Thank you for having me today. It's great to be here. Even though we're calling from California, we got Augusta in the background, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. So nice to see everybody. Stephen Goldstein, currently the founder and managing principal for TETRA G. We're a two-sided marketplace. We focus on advisory board as a service for startups and consulting services for enterprise software companies, carriers, reinsurers, brokers, and agencies. We're predominantly focused on the life, wealth, and health sectors, dabble a little bit in commercial P&C. It's been a great run for the last 4 years. Currently working on some expansion plans where we're building out an expert network to be able to leverage a number of more folks that we've been working with in the ecosystem a little bit more formally. Been doing some work with the Founders Chair, which is a group that focuses on, it's kind of like an insurtech, fintech Shark Tank, bringing together founders and funders to deploy capital, and then doing some more community and ecosystem stuff as well, which we'll come to as we talk about ITC and the golf tournament. So been having a lot of fun, excited to talk about a few things, mostly related to the community aspect, but thank you again for having me today, Evie.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. So let's talk a bit about ITC. It will be it's not, it will be your 10 conference, right?
I think it'll be it's the 10th ITC, if I'm not mistaken, and I think it'll be either my 7th or 8th one that I'll have attended.
Wow. Okay. So what are your expectations for ITC Vegas 2025?
Yeah, well, so for the last 2 years, I've been serving on the Life, Health, and Benefits Advisory Board for ITC. ITC's gotten so big, and it's definitely like the marquee insurtech event to attend to in the US for insurtech. There's a lot of other events that are great, but this is the one where everyone's there. As it's grown in size, the ITC team has done a great job in terms of splitting up the conference. It's more splitting up the conference hall to be focused on the different areas that people might be going to the conference to go and see. And last year was the first year of that. I think it went very well. And now we've been able to refine some of those things as we go into next year. So obviously, I'm most looking forward to the content that we put together for the Life, Health, and Benefits track. It's always nice. What I liked the most of last year, not that I don't mind seeing my P&C friends and friends that are in other parts of the business, but because just the practicality of the floor being laid out in a way that you've got life and benefits over here, P&C, cyber, what have you, you can kind of run into your tribe a little bit more easily and then kind of branch out as you need to. So I think last year was a good first step in that direction. We in the benefits, life benefits track, we learned a lot. And then I think the wider ITC team has learned a lot. So really just looking forward to kind of how they've been able to double down on that this year. and where we can really focus on that from a life benefits and
Couldn't
perspective.
agree more. That, also, like the first time it was split it to neighborhood, like in the
Mm,
during like a mini conferences last time, and it was much helpful for understand, okay, what is happening right now. I'm in the benefits, I'm in the PNC, I'm worker, I am in Latin maybe, so it's much easily to understand what is going on, and especially like a huge conference, you have like almost 10,000 people from all over the place, all around the world. And I think yeah, Josh, of course, Nicole, and Bill, and the team, the rest of the team, Rocio, yeah, uh good job, gentlemen. So
yeah.
in your area, okay, in which topics or trends do you hope you will receive more attention this year?
Yeah, so I know one of the big things that's come up in our kind of advisory panels more on like the health and benefits side, right? There's been this big push towards folks focusing on developing more benefits for the employees that they serve, but then also having benefits for folks that maybe aren't in a traditional employment. I think that trend's going to continue to go forward, and I think it's interesting how companies are trying to offer more to their employees outside of just a salary bonus and what have you. They need to offer other benefits, other perks, other incentives to keep them as part of the company that they're hiring them for. So I think there's a lot of good trends there. Um, I'm actually putting together a panel right now around the convergence of life and wealth. Historically, you've seen a lot of like life insurance agents that go out there and sell life insurance policies. And then you've got wealth managers and financial planners that sell investments and funds and all of that. As folks are moving along in their own journey, right? You might start with just needing some investments, but then if you form a family, or if you have a business, or if you have kids, or you buy a property, now insurance, estate planning, all these things kind of come to the foray. Certain people like to kind of go and have a financial planner, an insurance person, an estate person, a tax person. But more often, if someone's managing certain aspects, I kind of want them to know the whole thing. So I see it as like this convergence of life and health, life and wealth, where you see more life people trying to offer more of the financial and estate planning aspects, and financial people trying to offer more of the estate and life aspects. So we're putting together a great panel on that. And
Interesting.
I've seen a lot in my own advisory and consulting work on that path as well, and just looking forward to sharing it with the wider audience there.
On the other side, what discussion or issues are usually missing in a form like this, like from a conference like this, or which ones do you hope will appear this year? Maybe something that
Yeah,
sometimes, yeah. Go ahead.
it's interesting, and I actually didn't look at the agenda too specifically on this topic, but there was someone, a friend of mine, Evan Falchek, who I believe also is also on our advisory board. He did a recent post, Evan's from Family First, about kind of trust in the industry, and you know, technology aside, people, partnerships aside, whatever, like, oh, not partnerships aside, but trust is such a big factor. And there's a trust in partnerships. Like, right, can we as two people have a relationship to be able to work together? Can I trust that your technology is actually going to do what you say it does, right? I meet so many early stage companies and later stage companies that say, we can do this and this and that and whatever. I'm like, all right, show me a demo. And they're like, well, it's not ready yet. That's what we hope to do in the future. I'm like, wow, okay. And I make a ton of introductions, and that's my brand and my reputation. And I think just
Right.
trust across the board, from how you trust people, how you trust partners, how you trust the technology that you're working in. I'd love to just see how you trust the answers that you're getting as we're using AI more. How do we just make sure we trust all the things that we're doing, and that we can believe and actually have faith in the stuff that we're doing? So I'd love to see just a panel on that, but not from like a trust, just technology perspective, but more trust kind of broadly.
Okay, give me an idea. Okay, wow, nice. So let's talk about the golf issues. Please,
For sure.
please tell. What's
So
the connection between ITC and golf? I know Bill is like a huge fan of golf, of course, and of course you. But yeah, give me the connection.
yes, so anytime you hear Bill and ITC and golf, I just think of that picture of him. I think it was a few months, maybe earlier this year or last year when he went to the Nike factory, I believe, and he's sitting on a bunch of balls, and I'm like, man, you're just doing it. I love it. So, golf and insurance and financial services kind of go together with like peanut butter and jelly. In any business that's relationship focused, not just insurance or financial services, but anything. Golf is a nice thing to be able to, going back to our comment on trust. If you can play 4 hours of a round with somebody and trust that you're going to have a good time, that might give me a better indication that I can do business with this person, right? And so, last year for ITC, my wife came with me. She was my girlfriend at the time, but she's also a golfer, and we had planned to play golf on the Monday before ITC with a couple of friends. And those friends are folks that were also attending at ITC as well. That ended up growing to a little bit bigger of an event, so we had about 16 people that played. And I had invited Bill, but he couldn't play because of his previous day commitments. So we were talking on Tuesday after the event, after the golf event, and he said, "Hey, how'd it go?" And I said, "We had a blast." And I said, and as everyone was sitting there at the 19th hole, for those that don't know the reference, 19th hole is usually the bar for drinks afterwards. We're sitting there and everyone's like, "Stephen, we should do this in a bigger basis next year." So I told that to Bill and he said, "All right, let's see if we can put something together." So we looked and saw which courses were available. Kind of shortlisted them, called them, found that Bali High, because it's right next to Mandalay, kind of made the most sense. And then Bill, Josh, and I, well, we got Nicole's blessing for it. So thank you, Nicole. And then we just went off to the races. So we put together the tournament earlier this year. We are working towards getting 80 golfers to join us. As of now, we're kind of end of August. I think as of this morning, we had about 60 players playing. So we got a room for about 20 more. We've got, I'm looking at my list here, about 10 or 11 sponsors signed up for the tournament. We're going to have lunch and drinks and private networking. So it's actually turning into a real golf tournament. So after kind of putting everything together, Bill called me and said, "Hey, you're going to be our ITC inaugural golf tournament director." And that's actually a title that my dad has had for many, many years, is a tournament director. And so I said, you know what, for all my titles that I've had in my career, this is the best. Thank you so much, Bill. So really, really just honored that I got chosen to put this together, and for a conference that is just kind of the mecca of InsurTech, that we're finally bringing a golf tournament to it is just super exciting.
Which day? Maybe I missed it, but which day it will be on Monday?
So this will be on Monday, October 13th
13.
at 1 p.m. shotgun start.
Nice. Okay. Steven, I think we had plenty of topics to speak, but I think we will keep it for another episode. What do you think?
I think that's great. Yeah,
What?
I mean, we can.
You know what? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No. After you.
As a last question, and specific about golf, what is the best tips that you can bring to the startup or the insurtech or the whatever, whichever will be in this tournament to have related to insurance?
Related to insurance.
Before that, we spoke about Happy Gilmore too, and for those who saw the movie, there is a lot of accidents there and insurance, like in a gimmick way, of course. But yeah, I found it very funny. So yeah, go ahead.
Well, I don't know if this particularly goes to insurance necessarily, because we're more of a risk averse industry, and we like to kind of assess things before we go.
Okay,
And
great.
you need to assess your shots before you hit them. I'm a big stickler, and all my friends will know this. My wife knows it. Everyone knows, to not play slow. Now, what that means is that you have to be able to make decisions quickly and not dwell over what shot you're going to hit or what you're going to do. So, yes, you have to take the time to assess what you're doing. But if you've been doing this for a while, which most golfers have, then get up, hit the ball, and go. And if things aren't working out, just pick it up, take your medicine, as we say, think about it, reassess, and then go to the next hole. So acting confidently and swiftly, I think, is important for anyone in business. And then when knowing that you're out of the hole and that there's no chance for you to make up a good score, just pick up your ball, pivot, and move on to the next one.
So a tip for the startups in general. Amazing. This is
Yeah.
equivalence. Good. Thank you very much. I will see you next week, next month. So yeah,
I'll see you soon. Thanks, Evie.
awesome. Thank you.